Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Yes, probably about it.
Yo, guys, about the Cobra Kai crowd. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to talk about Stranger Things Season 1, as I am going to start reviewing every season, hopefully before Season 5 comes out, or at least the first part, as I am just now rewatching it. And Stranger Things is a show that I haven't talked about a lot. It's a show that I do like, but it's also a show I haven't rewatched. I haven't watched it since Season 4, so rewatching it, I'm watching it with a whole new set of eyes, especially Season 1, which we'll talk about today, because you guys don't know, I have been hating on Season 1 a lot. But it's probably the worst season just because it's so unrewatchable, because the whole season revolves around
so you're just incorrect. So
I think season
plots and characters that are growing. Season 1 feels like a whole origin where it's obviously it's the first season, that makes sense, but it means it's all about the investigation, what's happening with Will, where he is, and when you already know the answer on the rewatch, it's really I remember I rewatched it when I was getting ready for Season 4, and I almost felt like skipping some of the episodes because it was and basically it's me just saying about how it's not rewatchable, and then I actually rewatch it and I'm like, oh frick, because I think when I rewatched it for the first time, I was looking at it for the wrong reasons. I was looking at it for the story, but rewatched it now, maybe it's because I haven't seen it for a while, but rewatching Season 1 now, I see Season 1 in a whole new lens, and it's not only just a good season, it's probably the best season in the show. So I'm going to talk about this season, how great it is, and how good the characters are, how good the arcs are this season. And I am currently watching Season 2, and I will review that soon. And hopefully by the time Season 5 comes out, I have all 4 of my reviews out. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about Season 1. What do you give it 1 out of 10? Without further ado, we're going to hop right into this, starting with Episode 1. Now, Episode 1 is a really good episode. It starts off with a lot of good things, and I think it's, especially if you've watched it for the first time, if you watch Season 1 for the first time, you're going to love it way more, but even on the rewatch, it is still very good. So right off the bat, we get to see the whole guy get eaten by the Demogorgon, or we don't really know what it is. It sets up this mystery thing, which we kind of follow throughout the season. And then the best thing about this episode, and honestly the best thing about this season, Mike, Will, Lucas, Dustin, all the kids, because in this episode and the whole show, they just have really good chemistry, and it's not just where it's oh, fun kids and whatnot, I don't know, like the Goonies or something. No, because we actually see them go through multiple different issues where they disagree with each other and have disagreements, and really good comedy moments, really good serious moments, and just it feels really authentic and natural, and I just love those scenes of them, and especially in Season 1, that is where I think it's at its best. So that's the first thing that I really like. Another good thing just to mention is the music. The music and soundtrack in this season and the show overall is just fantastic. All the soundtracks, and even the intro, and how great the intro is and great the music is. The soundtrack and the music and everything they've done with that in this season is just amazing. Later in the episode, we see them go to school and they get bullied by the kids, which honestly I will say that is a bit of a generic approach, but I think they play it off pretty well. And then later in the thing, we get to see Barb and Nancy, and I think Nancy's a really good character, especially in Season 1, because with her and Barb, it's really set up as she's supposed to be this girl, and she doesn't want to go with all the popular girls. These are probably 2 friends for a long time that kind of did their own thing, kind of like Sam and Aisha a little bit, and she's hanging out with all the cooler kids and whatnot. Kind of a weird analogy. I mean, Aisha does not get slimed out by a Demogorgon, but still. But we see her and kind of her going in different directions, and I think it's a really good arc with her, and it leads on after what happens to Barb and how she responds to that. But honestly, the worst thing about this season, and definitely the worst part of his character at all, was honestly, maybe it's not the worst part of the season, but still, Steve this season was just not good. And it's not even for the reasons people think. It's oh, he was a bully, I don't like him. Which honestly, I don't really blame him for a lot of the stuff. I mean, did he really do anything wrong per se? I mean, if you see someone taking pictures of them, doing what they're doing, I would act out in the same way. So it's nothing to do. Honestly, it has nothing to do with that. Really, what the problem is just he's just a really non-interesting character. He's really generic, and he doesn't do anything. He's really in and out of the season. And then at the end of the season, he kind of gets pulled into the whole thing. And then he's a lot better in Season 2, 3, and 4 than Season 1. In Season 1, he seems more like a burden coming in and out of the show, which is kind of just frustrating. But later on in Episode 1, we see Joyce and Hopper. And Hopper's trying to find out. He's not taking it seriously at first, but he slowly starts to get into this investigation about what's going on. Start to set up the whole stuff with the lab and the mystery of everything with the lab and everything that's going on there.
And then we get to see Eleven for the first time, and Eleven this season was really good because you're really trying to figure out who she is, and you get flashbacks of what happened to her in her past with her mother and the whole stuff with the lab, and just finding out this stuff, and each step taking one step forward is just so good in how they do their storytelling in this season particularly. And I know I said, oh, that's not going to rewatch because you know the answer. It's not necessarily about knowing what happens next on the rewatch. It's really about just seeing how the characters respond to certain things, how it leads to the finale, which was amazing. But episode 1 was just a really good episode. It ends off with the kids looking for Will, and then they find Eleven, which leads off in you know, kind of the catalyst of the season there. With, well, not really, that's more of Will, but still, it leads off there pretty well. But I give episode 1 an 8.8 out of 10. Really good episode. You get to episode 2, another really good episode. It starts off with really funny scenes with Mike, Lucas, and Dustin disagreeing on what to do with Eleven and everything there, and just backing stuff there. You get to see more of Mike and Eleven, who had a really nice chemistry and how what they did this season. More of the investigation, how it's getting more serious, and Hopper taking stuff more serious. And Hopper this season is a really good character, kind of like a broken down sheriff who kind of just lives day by day. And obviously what happened with his daughter and everything that happened there, and how he just lives his life with relationships, and how that leads into the finale, and how it leads to him as a man, and how it leads to him actually taking a step where he risks his life for this investigation and trying to find, you know, Will. So it's just really good seeing that. Another good stuff is Joyce this season, seeing her breaking down and trying to figure out the stuff with the lights and everything happens there, and it makes her look crazy. And just seeing the family drama and trauma that happened there, and how they actually show it, and it does it in a really natural way with the ex-husband and everything there, and then Jonathan and Joyce and their turbulation they go through. Everything just seems so natural and so right, and the brokenness and actually seeing it happen in not like a huge explosive dramatic way. It happens step by step really naturally as she's kind of losing her mind, but she's really not. She's really figuring it out. That right there is what just leads perfectly into when they find out everything and how everyone comes together. And that's just a really good part of, yeah. But yeah, this episode kind of ends with the whole stuff with Barb getting killed, which I think is another really cool scene. And just seeing the Demogorgon, they don't really show them right away, they kind of lead you into it. So yeah, episode 2 was a good episode. I gave it an 8.6, so another really good episode. And then we get to episode 3, which I thought was another very, very good episode. So episode 3, after Nancy, is kind of her trying to figure out what happened with Barb, and her and Jonathan come together, try to figure it out a bit, which I think they had really good chemistry. They're kind of two different characters, but they just kind of fit well a lot. I know later in seasons it got really weird and really kind of confusing, but this season particularly, I thought it was just done really well. And the whole stuff with Nancy and her mom, I thought that was really good drama and really natural there. More stuff with Eleven, they find out that she has powers, and now she has connections to Will, and they're trying to find him. And yeah, just a lot more of investigation, and you're seeing a lot of different characters. You're seeing Hopper trying to figure out what's going on more about that guy who killed himself. He didn't really. That was by the CIA or whoever those guys are. Then we see the whole stuff with Joyce and the Christmas lights, which was a really iconic scene and just a really heartwarming, great scene to see. We see more flashbacks of what happened to Eleven and everything, and how she escaped by killing the people, and how she's kind of used as a lab rat. And it really makes you sympathize for her, and also makes you want to understand more about her and what she does. And then you get the scene where it starts getting really dramatic, where they're going back trying to find where Will is. She's trying to explain what the Upside Down is. They don't really understand it, and then they find a body, and that's where Mike breaks down and Eleven runs off, and everything was just kind of crazy. It was a really emotional episode, and how everyone responded to that. And obviously it was a fake body, but that right there was just a crazy moment in the show. Especially watch it for the first time, you don't know it's a fake body, it gets even more crazy. But that leads to episode 4, which was another, you guessed it, good episode. But episode 3, I give it also an 8.8, same as episode 1. Episode 4, The Body, had great drama, great investigation, and this is really when the plot and story took action in a huge way. Rather, it was a lot more about setting up the characters, setting up the storylines. This right here is where we start to see stuff take play, where Hopper goes to Joyce and she's like losing her mind, and Hopper's like, he doesn't believe her, and he like thinks she's crazy. In this episode, we're kind of following 3 different storylines with Nancy and Jonathan trying to investigate on their own, and that leads to the whole stuff with we're in the woods and everything, and just them trying to figure out on their own what happened to Nancy. Then you have the whole stuff with the main characters and kids and 11 trying to figure out what happened to Will and trying to find where he is, and they bring 11 with the wig into the school, all that stuff. And then you have the whole stuff with Joyce, her own crazy state, and then in this episode a lot more is Hopper figuring out what actually is happening and how strange everything really is. Hopper, he goes to the body and opens it, and he sees that it's fake, and that right there was the huge moment where everything clicks, where now the season is just going to take a huge step forward, and just figuring out what's going on, and Hopper kind of putting everything on the line for this investigation. Because you look at him, he doesn't really have too much of a life for what he's doing. This right here just sets everything into play, and it's like a calling towards him that he has to answer. So yeah, episode 4 was a really good episode. I give it also an 8.8. So yeah, on to episode 5. In the beginning of the episode, we see Hopper going full investigation mode, where he is breaking in with a gun, trying to get in, trying to get everything figured out, and eventually he just gets knocked out or whatever, and he gets woken up in his room, in his house. Or I guess they couldn't kill him, or else it would look too suspicious where people actually was hurt investigating. But he wakes up and there's a mic, or not, like a bug inside his house, inside his light, which just leads into him kind of aligned with Joyce and everything, and she's kind of losing faith in what she believes, and is she actually going insane with her husband coming back and everything like that. And eventually, yeah. But also in this episode, we do see just more flashbacks of 11 in her past, and we do get to see Will and Lucas have a huge argument about what to do with him, where she throws Lucas across the place, and that's where Lucas kind of leaves, and just leads to actually good drama. It doesn't feel like this corny middle school drama. It does feel real, but it also doesn't feel like kind of forced or kind of just like stupid writing. It feels really well, which leads to a crazy ending with Nancy and Jonathan trying to find what it is that attacked Barb, and they have all their weapons, and she goes inside the tree, which leads to the Upside Down, where she gets chased and attacked, and she gets kind of stuck in there. I believe that's how the episode ends, where she's stuck in there, and it's just a crazy ending, which leads into episode 6. I love this episode. I give it 8.6. Another really good episode. Good episode 6. Now, I will say this, episode 6 I thought was a really good episode, but it is my least favorite of the season. I give it an 8.3. I'll just say it now, but I just want to say right now, it's still obviously a good episode, 8.3. But I just feel like it's focusing on a lot of different things. It's like the bridge between what happened into the last two episodes, which the last two episodes are like one big finale. But this episode, we get to see Nancy escape, and her and Jonathan just kind of staying at her house. And then the whole thing about Steve and him beating up Jonathan, them going to jail, and then him like apologizing, going to wipe the thing off. It just seemed so unnecessary. Like, Steve this season just did not interest me, and kind of felt like a something in the way of what we're actually trying to focus on. But we see Joyce and Hopper coming together. Now they kind of are aligned with what's going on and everything that's happened. They're kind of investigating on their own, where they go to see Eleven's mom and everything that happened there. Which honestly, I appreciate him explaining Eleven's backstory, but it did kind of feel like filler at the moment. I feel like that didn't really matter too much now. I felt like with everything going on about everything that's going on, I understand they're trying to find 11, but it felt like a 10-20 minute scene of just them explaining of what happened to 11. It just felt like a little something that you'd rather see something else. But best thing about this episode was when the bullies tried to get Dustin, and he basically says, like, I'm gonna rip your teeth out unless you jump off, which literally he would die. And he jumps off, and she's holding him up and comes up, makes him like break his arm, and then they all hug with each other, and it's just a phenomenal scene. A really emotional scene too, with how the whole stuff ended with Mike yelling at 11 how she ran away. And yeah, just another great scene. And then it ends off very, very well, where they go to their house, and now all those guys, they're now coming in. They know 11's there, and now it leads to the last two episodes, which are two really, really good episodes. So we're gonna get right into those, because these two episodes are just fantastic. So episode 7 is a complete banger from start to finish. There's tension and stuff happening from the entire beginning to end, starting with the beginning of them going in there, them running out, and them being chased, and then flipping the car over, and everything that's happening there. It's literally insane. Some crazy action, some really fun scenes. And then Lucas coming together, and them kind of on a runaway for a while. They're kind of in a hideout. Like, the best part about this episode was probably the most satisfying thing about the whole season is all these storylines we've been following with Jonathan and Jonathan and Nancy on their own investigation of Hopper and Joyce now aligned, and all these things that are kind of going their own way, they all collide right now, where they all come together to try to stop this. It was just such a satisfying thing because they don't know what they don't know what he knows. Everything just comes together so well, and it's so well done. It's not rushed, it's not anything, it's just perfect. And then they go to the place, they're trying to get the pool where they can try to they find out that Barb's dead, but Will is still alive. Joyce and Hopper leave to try to go get him. That's pretty much the episode. So just a fantastic episode from start to finish. I give this episode a 9.3 out of 10. Honestly, it could be higher, but at least it's in the finale, which somehow gets even better. So the finale is just an emotional, action-packed masterpiece. They just do so much things right. Starting off with the beginning of now that Joyce and Hopper are now taken captured by everything, and then they kind of make a deal of yeah, you can go get the girl 11, but we are going to go try to get Will, which honestly for their characters not that bad of a deal, kind of is what it is. But they let them go to the Upside Down where they're trying to find Will, and as that's happening, we have the stuff with Jonathan and Nancy at the house, and the whole stuff, the lights and the action scenes there, and how tense that was with the trap, and then Steve comes in with the bat. It was just such good action and such good fun stuff. And then alongside of that, you also have the whole stuff with the kids and 11 and them coming there, and them trying to run away, and then they're shooting each other, and there's so much crazy stuff is happening. After doing this, they find Will, and he has a thing in his mouth, which we do know is not from Vecna, but they try to get him out, and you're trying to save him, and it's playing the emotional music with the flashbacks of Hopper's daughter dying from cancer. Such a powerful scene, such an emotional thing, and it's such a full circle moment where they eventually save her. And then 11, she's fighting off the Demogorgons. There's a crazy fight scene. She holds him up, and she basically vanished. What you think she died, but Will comes back. He's now in the hospital, and it just seems like a really good finale. You get kind of a time jump. They're all back playing together in the basement like they did in episode 1, and it kind of leaves off with two kind of cliffhangers, with 11 still being out there, and now something is wrong with Will, where the Upside Down's kind of inside of him, which leads to the Mind Flyer in season 2. So a fantastic season, absolutely amazing. Like I said, I posted some Instagram story. I take back everything I said. So yeah, I give this season a solid 8.8 out of 10, which is very high, especially for only an 8-episode season, and the episode average is actually 8.8. So there's my whole list right there. Let me know what you think about the season, guys. This could be the best season. The only season I think that could be better is season 4. Season 3 maybe. I don't think season 2. I'm watching season 2 right now. It's not bad by any means. It's just I do not think it's to this caliber. But that's my review. More videos to come, guys. See you guys next time. Always remember, extreme measures. Peace out.